Well, actually, I felt like I knew Rosalyn Tureck all my life, because as a boy, I had listened to recordings that she had made at that time for CBS Masterworks of Bach. But how I met her for real, in person, was an encounter in 1997, February, when I was, at that time, I was vice president of Polygram International and Deutsche Grammophon. And I was introduced to her by a very dear colleague of mine, Tom Deacon, who took me to Oxford to see her and said, "There's a lady you just have to meet. You and this woman will hit it off." I said, "Who is it?" He said, "Rosalyn Tureck." I said, "Absolutely." And I met her there, and that became the moment of our friendship and also a professional relationship, whereby I proposed to her the idea to make a comeback, so to say, and make the recording that she made at the age of 86 of the Bach-Goldberg variations for Deutsche Grammophon. Oh, this was a big personality, a very big personality, who had an aura and a charisma that you could feel from a mile away. The first thing that struck me was her way of intensely looking at you and listening to every word that you said. And nothing was sort of frivolous, nothing was superficial. So I would say an extremely rigorous and an extremely probing mind, an intellectually curious person. Yes, it's bittersweet, in fact. When she knew that she was going to die at the end of her life, in her true typical style, very matter-of-fact and very direct and very straightforward, she called me and she told me that she was terminally ill. And it was almost hard to imagine the way she was expressing it on the phone, because it was as if she was talking about someone else, but she was talking about herself. And she said to me, "I accept all these things. I accept death." She said, "But I can't accept not existing in a physical sense. Let's talk about that." Again, in a very intellectual context. And that was shocking to me. Here was a woman who knew she was terminally ill, yet approached even that in a very intellectual and a very sort of, she wanted to have a debate with me on the phone about that. And I found that absolutely astounding, but true to her character. I think her personality was so rigorous, so uncompromising. I would use the word uncompromising, and I would say uncompromising both in the sense of a character trait as well in the sense of a musical trait. Nothing was done without thought. Nothing was done without reason. So I would say uncompromising and probing, both musically and as a person. I would say rigorous. I would link the two, since I am not a professional performing musician, although I play music. I would say that she taught me through endless discussions that I had with her. And I used to go to visit her in Oxford on Saturdays and spend the whole day just talking to her. And we used to have telephone calls lasting hours sometimes. She taught me, I would say, how to be analytical, how to see things very clear, a clarity of thought, and to apply a clarity of thought in everything we do, whether that is in our daily routines or whether it is in approaching music, judging musicians, to be, as she was, uncompromising and extremely honest and rigorous to everything that you looked at and thought of. I think her role will be, certainly up until this time, there are few who could say to be scholars and performers to the level that she was, because often people are one or the other. And she almost goes back to a Renaissance woman, in a sense, of being someone who analyzed wrote and performed, and she was able to connect all these things together and to create synergies and links between performance, scholarship, analysis, research. And what was most interesting about her, I think, was the fact that she believed everything is interconnected. So she had a curiosity, and an intellectual curiosity, to speak with mathematicians, physicists, botanists, chemists, doctors, lawyers, to find parallel points between music and other disciplines. And that was, to me, something that I think has marked her and will sort of influence. She created a publication called Interactions, where she actually created symposiums, where she invited great personalities, among others, the very respected personality Benoit Mandelbrot, who is the famous creator of fractal geometry and fractal theory. And she was fascinated by that, to find the parallels between fractals and the music of Bach. So she believed you could create links and have synergies between everything, that everything was interconnected. And I think that will be one of the points where she has really left her mark. I would want to tell her, because of that one which I mentioned earlier, her fear of not existing in the physical sense. And I tried to reassure her, and I said, you have left so much and you've contributed so much to humanity through your writings, through your films that you made, and through your recordings, that you will live on. Albeit you're not here with us physically, but you live on, because your approach to Bach, your approach to music in general, will mark generations and generations to come. And I think that reassured her, but I also think it's true, and I would tell her now, if I could see her, it's the case. It's true. You do live on.